Yeah, you read the title. It's not that deep, actually. It's really not. Um, Look, here's some notes I wrote down before I get into my whole spiel. Look, you can use terms like nuance, layered concepts, caveats, and the old, God forbid, context. We love using context for every variable of a conversation or an idea or something that happened to try to spin it to whatever is to our convenience. We love that word, context. You may mean well on trying to break it down, quote unquote, but you end up watering something down from the original idea that you end up saying nothing of substance. Yes, you should be able to critically think and look deeper into things. But you obsessing over the same trigger words to deem yourself to an audience as intelligent is a facade to hide the whole lot of fucking nothing that you're saying. What I mean by that last part is we know when people want to really attach an audience, they use terms. If you're talking about politics, they use words like woke, communism, Zionists. They use those extreme buzz terms. We like to use terms that, red and blue, left and right when you're talking about that type of stuff. Or, especially when you talk about psychology and men and women, the overuse of the word narcissism. Everyone's a fucking narcissist. Because you didn't because someone told you no a few times. Because they didn't feel you were entitled to every fucking little minute of their day or every little thing about them. Someone gets told no a few times, and ironically, they think the other person is the narcissist, but in reality, their entitlement to think that they deserve every and everything just because they exist is what the real narcissism is, the entitlement. They use terms like the word and I know this is not a friendly term on YouTube, we use terms abuse for every little microaggression, verbal abuse, financial abuse, and all this stuff. And there are times where that exists. But because it is just blindly accepted and we just use those terms and it automatically gets taken as law. When in reality, most people that just blindly say stuff on the internet have never actually had those things happen to them, or they don't really understand what verbal abuse is and all that stuff. The point I'm trying to make is we like to use these extremism terms because it makes people attach, it makes people feel something, and it causes engagement, unfortunately. Capital letters and titles create engagement. Extremism, like exposed. I've used it before, and guess what? It works, and I'm ashamed to kind of admit it. The point I want to make is what inspired this video is there was a girl's video. I may even put her video in or I might put her video in the description or whatever, to where she made a video, and I want to preface this. I actually looked at a few videos of her channel. I actually think she's pretty well-spoken. She's probably more well-spoken than me in terms of, she's a very good messenger. She seems like she has very great confidence in what she's saying. And I say this, I'm not saying she's not smart or nothing like that. This is just my opinion about people that make everything deep just for the sake of making it deep. And I understand that if you completely ignore everything to act like nothing is that deep, there's a problem with that too, because then you're just ignoring what you want to hear. But the problem is when you make everything that deep, you steer it away from the main thing. And some people, they translate when they're talking about conversational topics, or they're talking about these topics that may require this explanation, but then they try to use it in their own life as manipulation. A lot of people, we love using these terms in dating. Let's just be honest about it. Everyone thinks that They don't want to be with you because there's some grander scheme of timing. Because, well, if this and that in the context, like, well, you know, he just got this, or she's, you know, she's going through this and all this extra stuff, and all that compassion and understanding and this nuance of understanding who someone is and their past and how they're raised. Although a lot of that is just great information. The reality is, if it's that difficult when y'all are together, you probably just don't really like each other like you think you do. Or worse, one of you does and the other doesn't. I'm going to use that as an example because when we think everything is that deep, sometimes it's right there in front of your fucking face. Sometimes, hey, you know, you could sit here and say you're broke because of this situation or that. Some shit happened, and yes, that happens. But if it's for an extended, long period of time, you might just be lazy. You might just suck. You may just not have any skills to make any money, right? You may be unmotivated. You may be lazy. I don't know. And you could sit here, but the problem is when we try nuance and context to everything, it never actually holds the individuals accountable when they're talking about these things. All these things, and that's where you make something deep and it solves absolutely nothing. When you make everything, you get in your own head, you overload yourself with so much information. When we talk about health and fitness, look, man, you can drink all the diet soda, the Help Better, or it's not this because I'm bloated, it's because I'm eating too many complex carbs and this, that, and the other. It's like, you know, you just don't drink enough water. Oh, you know, I'm only struggling with digestion because I'm not eating enough fiber and all this shit, when it's like, you just eat a lot of shitty food. We use all this extra stuff, and you could talk about it online when you see all this. The reason why I think more than ever, we have more information than ever. For health and fitness, we have more information than ever for a lot of things. And yet, we are at the worst, you know, percentile of every success rate as we've ever been. We have so much information, but yet everything is worse. You know why? This is why, and not to get conspiratorial here, people always want the government and they want everything to be transparent. But the reality is, when you give a massive amount of people the truth and all the information, what good ever comes out of it? Typically not a whole lot. It's too much for the average person or everyday people to comprehend. Like, what is telling people the UFOs and aliens and outside life, you know, what does it really help? Not a whole lot. Would you actually want to know all the internal issues of government and war and foreign affairs? Like, what we're taught. We are only given what they feed us through an underlying sewage system, which is called the broad news. And the problem is, because of that limited information they give us, we try to make things smarter than it really is. You know, we could sit here and say, oh, because we've been allies with this person and enemies with this person, when it's like, yeah, you know what? We just don't really like each other. It's a pretend relationship with a lot of allies. That's just what it is. It's beneficial for both parties because we need each other for this export, and we need each other so they don't fucking destroy our country. You know, that's the reality of why a lot of these relationships exist. The point I want to make is people want to always make something it's not. It gives us excuses to extend these videos to 30 fucking minutes because we have too many doomsday fucking people out there. We got too many people out there that want to feel like everything is that much complicated, which is why I think we have more anxiety than ever. We have more uncertainty than ever. We have more fear than ever. Because people don't want to stay in their fucking lane and just shut the fuck up about everything. And this is ironic and very self-serving, coming from a guy recording a video that no one asked him to record. I'm not saying I'm part of the solution, but I certainly don't pretend to be part of it either. All these people that complain about everything, and they get on you because you don't think it's that serious. Like, oh, you're part of the problem. You don't care about anything. It's like, it's not that I don't care, but I don't pretend to be so outspoken about something that I make no contribution to directly improve. Like when all these people talk about all these problems with feeding the world and hunger, then they pass a homeless person, they walk past them, they treat them like dirt, but they'll monetize it online because it makes them feel better. That's the type of shit I can't stand. It's phoniness. People want to seem deeper, to be deemed as more intelligent. They want to be deemed as they are a better individual. They want the gotcha moment in debate. That's all it's for. They want the gotcha moment in debate to get likes and views and all that shit. Then they start becoming so one-sided in their takes, and then they just grift to an audience because they know it's profitable, and then they will just shift because they have no moral value. So when people say it's not that deep, or I should say when people say it is that deep, and you get a guy like me saying it's not that deep, because I actually see it for what it is, and I don't take that shit serious. Well, if you don't take it serious, then you're part of the problem. Like, no, you are part of the problem because you think everything that you don't actively try to make a positive impact yourself. Everyone says they care about, like, justice and stuff. Everyone says they care about the world and politics. They care about this fill in the blank country. I'm not even going to say you guys care about this random country, that random country because of this, that, and the other. And you only care because the people in your proximity, you want to be liked in community with them. You can't just be like, I don't have to say it. I don't want this to happen, but I don't really care enough. Because guess what? Chances are they're probably not really caring about you in the moment. Being outspoken and being so in depth with everything doesn't mean you actually know what the fuck you're talking about. And it doesn't mean you're actually contributing to solve the issue either. My belief is, if you're going to be outspoken and pretend to be the smartest person in the room, you better be directly trying to benefit the thing that you're complaining about when it comes to these issues in the world. This is why I don't take politics serious. This is why I don't, because you want to add all these, because then you add nuance and someone else like, well, actually there's this one event, and then you're like, yeah, but that's because of this, and then you're all reading off the same history that no one actually knows the history because it's just written in textbook, but you don't even know what textbook is real. Then you say, well, that was because this was pushed and this was because that was pushed, and everyone's just spurting out their ass because they just want to be heard in the world. They want to go on YouTube, they want to go to social media, and they just want to be heard. But there's no real proof that their research, for the most part, unless they saw it with their own eyes, is more valid than someone else when they get it from a source. It's this endless cycle of, we love the idea of nuance, context, all this extra shit. And it's great to be able to look at something beyond the surface. It's a great skill to have. But the problem is most people don't realize they don't really have that skill. The deeper and smarter that someone thinks they are talking about something, you need to be even more questionable. What gives this person to think that they have it all? Or is it because you just want to feel like that's what it is? Most people pick up opinions because they've gained a parasocial relationship with somebody, or in a moment in time, they feel so neglected in some type of way in their life. So then when someone resonates with them that makes them feel a part of something, they will ride or die for that random ass person that doesn't give a single fuck about them. And I'm going to wrap up this video by just saying that when you say it's that deep, more times than not, it's not. Because whatever it is, when you wake up tomorrow, none of that shit fucking matters. None of it. Reality is, they just probably don't fucking like you. Accept it. Meep meep.